Hey everybody, a little follow-up video to the deluxe dig install on the Red Cat Vertex 10. So in my kit, you're going to get a rear transmission plate like this. It'll have two bearings pressed in it. You're going to get a few screws and a 3D printed spacer. So the stock rear plate is 4 millimeters thick. So this 1 millimeter spacer and a 3 millimeter thick piece of carbon here, put that together, lines up those rear mounts in the right position there. Spacer only goes on one way. If you put it on here, it's going to be off-centered a little bit, not quite going to line up with that hole. Flip it around, lines up perfectly like that. So it goes just like that. In the transmission, I needed two 0.2 millimeter shims. I put them both on the front side of the transmission. What that does is holds the output shaft towards the rear as much as possible, and that's important with the placement of the dig unit compared to the plate. Stock plate is 4 millimeters thick. I cannot put the dig unit on there because it holds the dig cog too far away from the output shaft cog. So it's really important to do that. The first couple of these that I shipped out, in fact the one that I'm using is made of G10 material, which is actually thicker than this carbon here. It's 3.2-ish millimeters thick. So it's really important to adjust how close that is there, or your servo throw, because you need full throw here in order to get as much engagement as possible on the cog that's on the output shaft. So I had somebody ask me about having their stock motor plate sent to me for these holes drilled there, and it won't work with a 4 millimeter thick plate. I can try and look into machining it down to get that dig unit to sit on there at the right height, but it's pretty critical, and I just don't think it's that important. So I've got these cut out of carbon fiber now, 3 millimeters thick, to give us the best fitment. So once again, that's going to go on there, your little standoff feet things, and it's going to hold it in the right position. The screws I've supplied are a little bit shorter than the screws that come with the dig unit. I've tapped all these carbon fiber and G10 pieces here. So the screws are going to go in there, and they're going to hold that dig unit on there, and you don't have to go super tight with this. If for some reason these screws are not holding threads in that carbon, you can put the stock screws in there, put a small, I think it's 2.5 millimeter M2.5 nut on the backside, and cut some of the screws off. You don't have to do it like this. I just included these for convenience. This is what I'm using. They're holding good. Just make sure you're not cranking down on them too tight, and stripping out that carbon fiber there. So as far as the actual dig install, there you go. Plate, two bearings, 3 screws, somewhat optional. They're just there to be convenient. And then make sure you're paying attention to the orientation of that spacer there, and it should go right in. Somebody pointed out to me, I never considered this option, but they're trying to put a dig unit on the Vertex 10N, the normal width, which comes listed at like 12.4 millimeters. This is the 10W. Obviously this is what I drive, so this is what I design things around. I didn't realize this would become an issue until I got an email. The stock drive shaft here, notice how you got about 1.5 inches of splines there on this side. Those splines do not go all the way through this female part here. So if you look, as I'm trying to turn this, it's going to get in there to a point, and then it's going to let go. So there's nothing. There are no threads back here, which means that if you put this in a truck with a short enough wheelbase, it's possible under compression that you're not going to have engagement there. So it's going to be pretty critical that you have your links adjusted properly to have as much engagement as possible. I'm temporarily running a wild boar drive shaft here, and just to show you a little visual of what I'm talking about, this is with the rig at full droop. You see I got a mark on here. As I compress this to bump, look how much that takes up. It's only 1/8 of an inch or so that it changes, but that can be enough to goof up your drive shaft here. Just a little bit. There it's engaged, and there it's not. So if I can give you an idea, it runs out right there. So this thing is only threaded about that far. That's where it runs out. So you got to make sure that you've got some engagement between here and the end there. So maybe about that far. So just be aware of that. If your wheelbase is a little too short, you could run into that issue. A couple solutions there would be aftermarket drive shaft. Remember, if you do so, you may have to drill out that pin to put a 2.5 millimeter set screw pin in there. That stock one is 2 millimeters, doesn't quite fit everything. You can put Revo rod ends on there, the 55-25 rod ends on there. That will extend it by 1/4 inch. Do 2 on the uppers, 2 on the lowers. It'll increase your wheelbase by about 1/4 inch. You can do both ends. It'll increase the wheelbase by about 1/2 inch. You could do something custom with your skid plate and transmission, scoot them forward. But anyway, pretty easy. Not that there shouldn't be anything difficult to work around, but just thought I would let you know since that came up. While we're sitting here staring at it, this is the all-wheel steer Vertex 10. What I've done is taken my stock front axle, moved it to the rear, sped it up a little bit with 30-tooth, 8-tooth diff gears, basically a stock ratio. I put a Muse isokinetic capper on the front, slowed that down with the underdrive from the rear, scooted that up front. That gives me my perfect 35% overdrive that I want. And yeah, it's working really good like it is here. Front links are all the same. Fits really well. I imagine the rears would be just as nice. They'd fit just as nice. I've got something a little custom going on there because of my new servo mount and upper links for my rear steer conversion. But yeah, happy with it so far. I gotta get the Dremel out tonight and grind off some bump stops there because the modified front axle gives me almost that 60 degrees of steering there. I think Red Cat listed at 58, but you can't get 58 degrees stock. I measured it. So I gotta turn up the front end a little bit there to at least match. I don't actually drive with this much. I limit the rear, but whatever. It's already modded. I'll put some bump stops in there if I need to. So anyway, there you go. Quick little update. If you have any questions about this stuff, just shoot me a message. Thanks.